We are going to start the Christmas period with a sequel to a film I reviewed about a year ago, and it's my most popular film review that I've done. So thank you very much for everyone who watched that video, and I hope you enjoy my video on the sequel that no one really enjoyed that much. But let's talk about it. I'm Berryman, and this is 10 Things Wrong with Christmas Chronicles Part 2. The Christmas Chronicles 2 is a 2020 American Christmas comedy film directed and produced by Chris Columbus. The film follows on 2 years after the previous film, where Katie is now a cynical 13-year-old who's unhappy with her new family and decides to run away. But because of a naughty elf, she ends up with the North Pole. When the film was released on Netflix, it only got mixed reviews. But what have I found wrong with it? Well, join me as I discuss 10 Things Wrong with the Christmas Chronicles Part 2. Number 10, North Pole entry. So the whole North Pole, Santa's village, is enshrouded by the Aureoles. I can't say it, but it's surrounded by a mystical shield, and only Santa can get in or out. Now here's the thing, when he leaves the North Pole to go and rescue Katie, he gets out no problem. But when he goes back in the first time, he's having issues. Why? Why is he having issues and have to weave in and out, getting in, but he can get out no problem? Doesn't make sense. It should be the same issue getting in and getting out both times. Number 9, is Mrs Claus a witch? So Mrs Claus is supposedly the most loving, caring woman on this planet. Even puts Mother Teresa to shame, and she has some issues behind her, but I'm not going to talk about those. Mrs Claus is supposed to love everyone, and she does, and she's brilliantly played, perfectly played by Goldie Hawn. But there's one thing about this version of Mrs Claus is she has magical powers, and she just does all this stuff with her hands. Magic appears. She's good at potions. She can see what's going on by making a potion. Does that make Mrs Claus a witch? Would that make Mr Claus, Santa Claus, Father Christmas a wizard? Are we talking about Harry Potter here? Number 8, the other naughty elf. So the main villain of this film, and yes, this film has a villain, we will get onto that, but the main villain of this film is Belsnickel, who is a disgraced fallen elf. He was so naughty he turned human. It doesn't make us humans sound much good, but I'm not going to talk about that. Want to. But he's not the issue. He has a sidekick who's also a naughty elf. Why did that naughty elf not turn into a human? If the Belsnickel turns into a human, why didn't the other one? You can't have rules for one and not the other. It doesn't follow on. That's what this film is so far, is we can say this happens, but we don't have it all the time. Attacking Santa, again. There seems to be quite something that happens quite a lot in films. You make a Christmas film, Father Christmas is the central character. It's a success, it makes you lots of money. So you follow it up with a sequel, and the sequel is, let's have Santa's workshop under attack. This is what happened with the Santa Claus, and the Santa Claus went downhill when this happened. So Netflix have decided to do the same again with the Christmas Chronicles. The first film was brilliant. So you follow up with, let's attack Santa's workshop storyline. It's not original, it's not really Christmassy, and yeah, it's just dull and boring. Come on, if you're going to do a sequel to a fantastic Christmas film, think of something else. Don't just follow the trope and make it into a cash grab. Look, because that's what this makes this film seem. Number 6, dodgy camera views. As somebody who is a fan of films, one thing I do love is cinematography, getting those beautiful camera shots, getting it lined up perfectly, making the scene look fantastic. And sometimes directors actually try things new and unique, and they work. The reason being is when they don't work, you don't put them in the film. Except for what happens to this film, which is surprising because Chris Columbus is brilliant, but he has a camera view where the main focus is a reindeer's eye. It takes up most of the screen and you can only just see what's going on behind him. And it doesn't, I didn't really like that scene. It was like, what the hell's going on? Why are you zooming in on a reindeer's eye? Pull the camera back. Okay, if you're gonna have it, the reindeer as the central focus, fine, I could get that. but put the whole reindeer in, not the eye. Number 5, real world. One of the things that makes the first film so successful is the fact it is set in the real world. There's not actually that much set in the North Pole. There are scenes set in the North Pole where Katie meets all the elves, but majority of it is set in the real world so we can understand and see how Christmas is going from Santa's point of view, and it works and it makes the film enjoyable. This film is predominantly near enough set at the North Pole. Well, yeah, that's Santa's workshop. They make toys there. It is probably a boring place to be at Christmas because it's just going to be hectic, busy, because they're all trying to get ready. I don't want to see a film watching elves be slave labour. I want to watch a film about the spirit of Christmas. And yeah, because you're watching Santa under attack just before Christmas, it doesn't really make compelling viewing. Number 4, musical number. So the first film had a very decent musical number while Santa Claus was in prison. So this film had to follow that formula again, and it didn't exactly have the same payoff. To me, it felt very shoehorned in. It was like, right, we need to have a musical number. We'll stick it right here. There's no build-up, there's nothing to it, and yeah, it didn't have the same feeling or pizzazz as the musical number from the first film. Number 3, North Pole Sunshine. So as I've already moaned about this film's predominantly set in the North Pole, there's one factual thing they got wrong. The fact there isn't actually that much sunlight at the North Pole, especially from October till March. It predominantly just comes night 24/7. Now, I know from most of the film you've got the Christmas star shining brightly, so that could counteract it. But what about when the Christmas star disappears and the shield goes down? It should be permanently nighttime. Even when Katie and Jack Force are outside the shield, it's sunshine. No, there would be no sunshine, especially if it was sunshine in Mexico. It wouldn't be sunshine in the North Pole. Oh yeah, there's no sun in the North Pole. Number 2, breaking the fourth wall. Breaking the fourth wall sometimes works and sometimes it doesn't. Unfortunately, in this film, it doesn't exactly work. When Mrs Claus tells Jack he has to go outside on his own, he looks scared at the camera. Why? It didn't work. It sort of ruins the flow of this film. It gives you that cause to disbelief. When you watch a film, if it's a comedy, you can understand. If it's something psychological, you could sort of understand. But in a film about Christmas, that's supposed to be a family, enjoyable film, you don't want the actors interacting with the cameras. You want them to be in that world so we can believe in that world. We can't believe in it if the actors are looking at the cameras. Yeah, breaking the fourth wall did not work in this film. Number 1, Christmas message. So when you watch a Christmas film, one thing it has to have is convey Christmas, one aspect or another, but it has to convey Christmas. And that is what this film doesn't do. Well, in my opinion. Now, I know Katie was having family issues, but that was not the forefront. The forefront was attacking Santa Claus. So the whole Christmas message just got lost. Now, there was a couple of snippets, especially when they're in Boston in 1990 and Katie gets to meet her dad as a teenager, but the Christmas feeling, the Christmas magic, it fell flat. Final thoughts. Now, I will say I loved the first film, so as a part of me was really excited to actually watch the sequel, and I will say I was kind of disappointed. It didn't have the same heart or the same feel as the first film. It sort of was missing something. Now, something it did bring over from the first film was Kurt Russell's enthusiasm. I think he just enjoys being Father Christmas. And he actually, something that in this film that brings it out even more is actually starring opposite his wife. You can tell their timing, that they know each other so well. And it was beautiful, and it was lovely to watch these two actually playing a loving married couple, because I've seen interviews with these two together And it's no different, they're not acting. You can actually see and feel the love between these two actors. And that's this film's strength. But that is it. That's the only strength this film has. The storyline was so boring because it's been done to death. Everything else was just so meh. And yeah, it was just boring, with the exception of the happily married couple. I didn't enjoy this film. I found it dull and boring, which is a shame because the first one was so good. So, I can't believe I'm actually going to say this, especially as I rated the first film so well. I'm only going to give The Christmas Chronicles Part 2 a 4 out of 10 berries. I feel bad. I really do feel bad. But that's my opinion. Those are my thoughts and feelings about this film. What did you think? Do you think I'm being too harsh? Do you think I'm being spot on? Or do you actually think it's worse than what I actually say? Let me know in the comments below. Other than that, let's crack on with next week's Christmas film. It's a film where a lot of my friendships are going to, end. We want to know why my friendships are ending? Well, come back next Sunday. Take care. Bye-bye.